So guys, my goal today is to literally give you real true hope and inspire you that thinning hair and hair loss does not have to be your destiny. I'm 41 now. That was a picture of me when I was 25. And as you'll see, my hair has been my identity. It was part of my identity even from a young child. And you'll hear my whole story. But what you're going to learn today is what truly causes thinning hair and hair loss. I promise you, it's not what you actually think it is. You probably have heard a lot of different things, and if you're anything like I was, you've tried a lot of stuff that hasn't worked. How to completely, truly stop it and literally turn back the hand of time when it comes to your hair, and I'll prove that to you. And yes, I'm going to prove it to you beyond a shadow of a doubt. So you're probably wondering, has this worked for other people? Like, I just want to go through some quick before and after photos. Um, so to be totally transparent, I had a hair transplant after college, but not one of these pictures that I'm going to show you is from a hair transplant. This is Paul. Paul actually was scheduled to have a hair transplant. Paul literally was going to go get a hair transplant. Here's his message. And we have a Facebook group that I'm going to give you guys access to if you stick to the end. Um, but he said that he was literally scheduled to go get a hair transplant, followed the system for, I think, 6 months, went back to the hair transplant doctor and was told that he had too much hair, that he literally was not a candidate for a hair transplant anymore. And by the way, I'm not opposed or against hair transplants at all, but I'm just telling you, not one of these photos is from a hair transplant. This is Brian. Brian said, I can literally see it changing every month. So grateful. I mean, guys, look at this. Look at completely restored his entire head of hair. This isn't just for men, it's for women as well. And it's all the same thing. It's about health to the hair follicle. And you're going to see that the same thing that causes hair loss and thinning hair in men is the same thing that causes, thinning hair in women as well. This is Mahmood. He said it's made a huge difference in my life. People don't understand how bad hair loss can mess you up mentally. So you can see here, not only just, a balding crown, but you can see didn't just stop hair loss, but completely filled in the entire area. This is another gentleman that said words can't describe what the gratitude, what a life decision or what a life-changing decision. I didn't believe actually when I was getting started that results like this were actually even possible. Again, this is from nothing other than what you're going to learn today. This is not a hair transplant. I didn't think that results like this were possible, that once you got to this point, that you could actually regrow hair. I was always told that if you had a shiny scalp or if there was balding there, that you could slow down hair loss, but you couldn't stop it or reverse it. This was a guy from our group that actually did a really cool thing, which I recommend taking pictures every 2 weeks to really track your progress. And you can see he tracked it and you can just see, and I'm going to tell you why 90 days, 90 to 100 days, 3 months is super important. Here's a young woman that was told that she had frontal fibrosis hair loss. And you can see this is 3 month results before and after. So new hair growing, filling in that area. And not only you can see the new hair growth, but I also want you to notice, look at the difference in the overall health of the hair. Like, look how much healthier and thicker her other hair that's existing there is. And I'll explain to you why that is so important. Speaking of hair transplant, this is another guy that was in our Facebook group that was considering getting a hair transplant. He said he's 55 years old. He was always into his hair. He had a bald spot. He on the podcast and said, "This guy's the real deal. Want to give it a shot." And here are his before and after results. Literally filled in the entire hair, bald spot. And again, don't look just at the bald spot. Look at the overall health of the hair. It filled in his hair, but I'm going to explain to you guys why that it's not just about regrowing hair in the bald spot. It's actually taking care of the health of your hair and the hair follicle. When you do that, you won't have to have any issues. This is also what's possible around the hairline. Again, I didn't believe that you could actually regrow hair around the hairline. I was told that that's not possible. And this is a guy, these were three months, just over 3 month results. So it's honestly, it is hard to believe. It's kind of hard for me to believe, but we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos and before and afters. And it's really cool because I never asked one person to show a before and after in our group. I was just honestly started the group to share my story and people just kept posting and posting. This is one of my favorites. This is Matthew, and this was a dude that had shiny scalp. You can see his scalp is shiny on the left. You can see it pretty much a completely balding scalp. And on the right, look how much hair is grown in and filled into the entire area. So again, I didn't believe this to be possible. This is Cole. You can see on the right side of his temple how he has the mole, and you can see how much hair is filled in April, May, June, July. So 3 months, 3 month time frame. This is just some of the comments that I've gotten. The burden you've taken on my shoulders, I can't describe. I was shocked. I began to notice only a month. I'd almost given up hope. I stopped taking financial. I could be happier. I gained so much confidence. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. It's changed my life. Guys, I can promise you I never planned on nor dreamed of being talking to you about hair loss. I don't want to be known as the hair loss guy. And it's ironic that I'm talking to you about hair loss today because I have always been obsessed with my hair, even as a young kid. This is a picture of me. I played soccer growing up and I had like the thickest, best hair. I had an undercut. I was like obsessed with my hair. This is me, I think in middle school, and I made my mom take me to like salons. I wouldn't just go to barbershops because I had to have like a really good high quality haircut. I take pictures. I took a picture of Tom Cruise there. I'm getting a really professional haircut. You can't make this up. I was literally voted best hair. This is a picture. I had to dig to find this. I graduated high school in 2001. This is the picture of me. I was literally voted best hair in high school. Okay. Um, and I thought, thank God, that I would never have to worry about hair loss because I was told that we inherited our hair genetics from our mom's side of the family. I don't know if anybody else has anybody else heard that. If you've heard that before, put a yes in the chat because I was told, oh yeah, it's genetics and it comes from your mom's side of the family. Yes, yes. Okay, I see people just commenting yes. I was told the same thing. I was told, oh, hair loss and healthy hair is genetic. So I thought, well, this was my grandfather, my mom's dad, and he was literally known for his hair. He had the best hair his entire life. This was him um, in his 70s, and he had just like the best hair, until his late 80s, until he passed away. And he really became the model of masculinity. My parents got divorced when I was young. I really kind of was raised by my mom and grandparents, and he worked hard, he was successful, and he had great hair, and he would get compliments all the time. And I thought, I was lucky and I was going to have the same fortune. This was me on my college visit. I went to Michigan State and I played football. I was a place kicker and punter. I tell the girls I played quarterback, but the truth is I was a kicker. So on the left, you can see my visit. That was when I was in high school. And on the right, you can see ever so slightly I'm starting to have a receding hairline. You can't, I tried my best to find the pictures from then. But that was between college or high school and college. And you can ever so, Howard, I appreciate it, brother. Nothing wrong with you. I appreciate it, man. Um, and guys, I see some questions popping up and raising hands, and I'm going to give everybody, answer every single question that you guys have. I'm going to go through the presentation and we're going to stay on and I'm going to go through every question that you guys have. I'm going to make sure that every question you guys have, we're going to make sure you're crystal clear, but please hold your questions till the end. So we're going to go straight through it. This was me starting to lose my hair right after, through college and after college. And this was me at one of my lowest points. And it's really literally hard to put into words how emotional hair loss affected me. I think especially me because I was so into my hair. And it was literally my identity, but it destroyed my self-confidence like you wouldn't believe. My mom and Anna yes, I answered that question earlier, how I had her trip. I'm going to tell you about it here in a second. My mom and Anna are pharmacists, there's three doctors in the family. I started taking the two FDA-approved hair loss solutions. This was 2001. I thought, thank God there was a solution to hair loss and thinning hair and my problem. But I was using Rogaine twice a day like crazy. I was taking finasteride, Propecia, and it not only didn't stop my hair loss, but I continued losing my hair. So then I went on this wild goose chase. I tried every shampoo, every topical solution. I tried every vitamin that was promised to give, that you're losing your hair because you're not getting vitamins and the hair follicle's not getting nutrients. And I went on this herbal quest. I was reading all these books on herbs and reading all these different forums about these different herbs that can help with hair loss. I was literally importing herbs from China. And then I was told, because none of this worked, I literally tried everything. I tried every shampoo. I tried every laser helmet. I tried everything you can possibly imagine. And I was told that the only true, actually permanent solution is having a hair transplant. So I had a hair transplant after college, and technology has come a long way. So I graduated college in 2006, and hair transplants are great. But what I learned the hard way, and what I get messages now over and over and over, is people that have had a hair transplant and continue losing their hair. So this is a gentleman, same thing happened, but I had a hair transplant. It did a job. In the front, I had my temples filled in, and the hairline. And I didn't have it in the back because it wasn't super bad back there. But I kept losing my hair, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" I was told that a hair transplant stops your hair loss, and that it's a permanent solution. But hair transplants, I need you to know, they do not do anything to stop hair loss. So you can have a hair transplant, and if you don't stop the actual root cause of your hair loss, you will continue losing your hair. It's taking hair from one part of the, area to the other. And this myth that there's hair that's the donor hair is impervious to hair loss is completely not true. I was left feeling completely hopeless. Yeah, Barbara said she spent over $15,000. Barbara, I got you. Um, I lost all my self-confidence. I tried everything. I literally, I mean, I was like, I can't describe to you when you feel like your life, I felt like my life was literally over. I felt like I was never going to be the same. I felt like I was never going to have that same confidence. I felt like I was like never going to be able to get another date. And I thought that this was literally like the rest of my life, that I was going to go through life this way. So, and again, if you haven't dealt with this, it can sound very dramatic. But I became obsessed with medical research, and just hoping to find the next big hair loss cure. I was reading all these medical journals. I was reading all these medical school studies, PubMed, NCBI. I was literally on the USPTO, the United States Patent Office, looking for the next big cure. I was looking at the thing back then they were talking, and they're still talking about, right? Everything was like, it's 5 years away, it's 5 years away, it's 5 years away. I see everything saying the same thing today. But don't even get me started on laser helmets. But I was doing all this crazy research, and I started to discover some stuff that was showing a lot of promise, mind-blowing research. But I became really confused. I started seeing studies and research that were talking about, this was a study that showed, a multi-center study, by the way, that showed that a caffeine-based solution, 0.2% solution versus a 5% minoxidil solution. And this is 2018. And it showed that caffeine at 0.2% counteracted the DHT-induced miniaturization of the hair follicle. It promoted proliferation of the stimulating cell metabolism, and it's still effective at 0.001%. And that it clearly demonstrated that caffeine is a stimulator of human hair growth, and it may be important for hair loss, and that it was non-inferior, and it was statistically the same, equivalent to 5% minoxidil. 0.2% caffeine was just as effective as 5% minoxidil. I'm like, why the hell? I'm like, if that's the case, how is 0.2% caffeine just as effective as 5% minoxidil? And why isn't anybody talking about this, or why isn't it FDA approved for hair growth? Just for reference, finasteride, there's only two things that have been approved for FDA approved for hair loss. Finasteride was in 1992, and minoxidil was discovered in the late 1950s and was approved in the 1980s. So how is it possible that we haven't had any advancements in hair loss in over 32 years? We have, but there's a reason why we haven't heard of them. Just this is to go to show with the technology at the time. It's like we've had insane technology advancements in every single sector except for hair loss. And the question is why? So then I started seeing other things. I started seeing, yeah, John says finasteride gives you, it does a lot of other things too, but so this was another study that I saw. They talked about tretinoin, which is a retinol. It's a vitamin A. And it was showing that tretinoin was shown to stimulate hair regrowth, not just stop hair loss. For reference, finasteride from Merck is from their own company, states that it slows down hair loss by 30%, only slows down hair loss by 30%. This study showed that tretinoin actually increased hair growth. It stimulated hair regrowth in 58% of subjects. And it said one female subject with pronounced alopecia, which is just the medical term for hair loss, for more than 20 years had regrowth of her hair using only tretinoin for a period of 18 months. So it stimulated regrowth in 58% of subjects. This is another study from the British Dermatology. It was talking about how azelaic acid and zinc, and the combination of that, and in combination with vitamin B6, had over a 90% inhibition of 5-alpha reductase, and I'll tell you more about that, but that is what basically converts testosterone to DHT and these other androgen hormones. But it was saying, I'm seeing these, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, there's all this research. Here's another one from PubMed talking about azelaic acid versus a fatty acid. And here's another one, and this was a super powerful one that talked about linoleic acid and omega-6 fatty acids. So these fatty acids were having these incredible results, and not only stopping, but reversing hair loss. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why isn't anybody, I mean, let me ask you guys, have you guys heard of these things? Like, does that blow your mind? Does that make you question, like, what's going on? So I was like, what the hell is going on? Why haven't we heard of these? So I literally tried to I get in touch with these people. This was like a PhD chemist at one of the universities that published some of these papers and studies. I'm trying to figure out how to get these ingredients and how to make these things into formulation. And I've heard of them, but I've been a madman. But I've been a madman with research. Okay, Debbie says no. Um, so guys, this is a really big article right here. This is something that is basically the death of hair hair growth innovation. And it's from 19 Friday. You can see this is literally a copy of the document. Friday, July 7th, 1989. It's called a final action rule. And it says that on January 8th, 1989, no OTC over-the-counter drug may be, introduced into commerce if it doesn't go through, if it doesn't file for what's called a new drug application, an NDA. Well, NDA is commonly known as FDA approval. So I couldn't get any of these things because they weren't FDA approved. So I packed my bags and I started traveling all over the world to try to figure out how to get these things and how to make them, and literally just went on this quest to try to solve my own problem. I mean, I can promise you, I never thought I'd be doing this to try to help other people. I was devastated and I was trying to solve my own problem. I went to China, I went to Korea, the cosmetic capital of the world. I went to Europe, all over Europe, just trying to find a solution. I started working with the best doctors, dermatologists, medical manufacturers, literally from all over the world, doing all kinds of testing, all types of like analytical labs that I was working with, testing all these different things, trying to figure out how to make this stuff. And from this is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Mint, but I used to use this to track my finances. In March of 2014 to May of 2020, I spent, this is my bank balance. And I spent, almost $1.2 million on my own money. So thankfully, I was in medical sales. I was doing well. But what I learned on, yeah, how did I afford that much? I had my own medical device company or medical distribution company. I used to work for Stryker and then I worked for Medtronic. And then I had a distribution company where, thankfully, I had, discretionary income, but I was also super freaking desperate and super passionate about trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So what did I learn on this crazy journey? And one of my favorite quotes from one of the best entrepreneurs ever, Steve Jobs says, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." So this is super important. I'm going to share with you what is actually causing thinning hair in like what's the actual cause. So you've probably heard, is it genetics? Is it diet? Is it DHT? Is it lifestyle? Like what is actually getting to the point? What I saw your question, but can you get to the point? We're working on it there. This is over 22 years of research. So I'm doing my best to make it understandable. But what is actually causing hair loss and thinning hair? People will tell you that it's testosterone gets converted to 5-alpha reductase by DHT, and that the terminal hair that somehow that DHT is causing hair loss, but that doesn't really make sense. Like why, if it is DHT, what is it about DHT that's actually causing hair loss? And hair loss is actually caused by one thing and one thing only. Hair loss is a disease which has the same cause and effect relationship as heart disease. And heart disease, I used to work for Medtronic, like I mentioned. Medtronic specialized, I was in the heart pacemaker defibrillators. I used to implant pacemakers as defibrillators. But heart disease is when plaque in the arteries starts blocking blood flow, starts restricting blood flow through the arteries to the heart muscle. And the arteries are what feed oxygen and nutrients to the cells around the heart. And if this isn't fixed and blood flow restored through the arteries to the heart muscle, it's called a heart attack. It's a myocardial infarction is the name of actually what it is. But it actually causes a heart attack. That's exactly the same thing that's happening at the hair follicle. So it's not just DHT, it's other androgen hormones that are attaching to this thing called the androgen receptor of the hair follicle, and it starts restricting blood supply. And as this happens, it happens, first of all, before you can even see it happen. And it starts as the hair follicle gets less blood flow, the hair gets thinner. And as the hair follicle gets weaker, the hair gets thinner and thinner until the hair follicle is so weak it doesn't produce any hair, and then we label it hair loss. But it's actually a gradual process, and you don't just wake up one day and have hair loss. And most people, it's wild to me. I can spot it immediately. I'll see somebody or a friend or whatever. I'm like, oh my, I can tell you're starting to lose your hair. Your hair's thinning. But most people don't even recognize it until they're really significantly down the road. And you want to catch it and actually take care of the health of your hair follicle as soon as possible, so you don't have to worry about that. But hair loss is really and simply caused by one thing and one thing only, and it's a blood flow, all about blood flow to the hair follicle, because blood flow is what carries all the nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and oxygen to the hair follicle so it can function properly. It's an organ just like every other organ. And this is actually what led to the discovery of minoxidil in the 1950s. Minoxidil, and this was the doctor that discovered it. It was being tested for something else, for ulcers actually. And they started noticing that it started increasing hair growth. So minoxidil is what's known as a vasodilator. So it increases the diameter of the vessel. So it helps. Minoxidil is kind of like fertilizer, but the problem with minoxidil, and you're probably wondering if blood flow is the cause of hair loss and minoxidil increases blood flow, when that's all the problem. The problem with minoxidil is that it's treating the symptom of hair loss rather than the underlying cause. It's like if you had a kink in a garden hose, trying to go over to the faucet to try to turn up the pressure to try to get more water to go through the hose, but you're not removing the kink. So it's helpful, but it's not. And this is why millions of people are still losing their hair with using minoxidil. The other FDA-approved hair loss solution, finasteride, Propecia, or any other DHT blocker, is trying to address it from a different angle. They're trying to actually focus on what's causing, they're trying to reduce DHT. The problem with that is DHT is actually a healthy hormone that our body needs to function properly. And finasteride is trying to block the enzyme 5-alpha reductase that converts testosterone to DHT. But as somebody already mentioned, there's some side effects with that, and there's some issues. And to actually you would have to take such a higher dose than 1 milligram. Like I said, it's been stated by the manufacturer to slow down hair loss by 30%. It's not recommended for women. And essentially, what you would have to do to stop hair loss by taking something orally, you'll never be able to take something orally, or vitamins or whatever orally, because essentially what you're doing, you would have to chemically castrate yourself. And there's a study that showed that males or females that do not produce any testosterone, they don't lose their hair. But this is essentially what you're doing by taking DHT blockers. And like you mentioned, there's a ton of possible side effects. Some people actually don't have a lot of negative side effects, but there are side effects, possible side effects. And this was something that said that Merck knew that they caused depression and didn't put it on the label. But again, it only slows down. Finasteride only slows down hair loss by 30%. And yet this are still the only two things that are being promoted and marketed for hair loss by these big companies. This is a recent blood test. I get my blood tested every 3 to 4 months. And this was a blood test that shows that my testosterone, I'm in the top 1%. I'm 41. My testosterone's crazy, pretty high, 996, which is high. This is natural. I don't do any testosterone TRT or testosterone therapy. And I have better hair than I've had when I was in college. So the question is, why haven't you heard of this? And it all comes down to this, guys. It literally comes down to this. And to create a hair loss product, or a product that says and tells people that it grows hair, you have to go through FDA approval. FDA approval now costs $2.5 to $3 billion to get through FDA approval. It's insane. Tufts University put out the study, $2.6 to $3 billion. And actually less than 12% of that is actually going to the development of the thing. It's all the legislation, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But you would think that even if it was $3 billion, that the hair loss industry is $8 billion annually in the United States alone. So big pharmaceutical companies, they would happily go and spend $3 billion to make $8 billion back. But the only way they could do that is if big pharma had a patent to guarantee a return on the investment. They're not going to go out and spend $3 billion and then come out with a product and get it FDA approved, and then everybody else is going to be able to do it. They need to get a patent to have exclusive rights to sell it. The biggest thing is you cannot get a patent on anything that's a natural ingredient, or this is actually more important. You cannot get a patent on any ingredient that has been studied in the past, even if it's proven to be effective. So literally, the cure for hair loss is available. It's proven to be effective. We have all the studies showing that it's proven to be effective, and you can't get a patent on it. And so nobody's going to go through FDA approval, and so nobody's going to actually make it or to market it. And here we are, or a prescription ingredient, or a combination of all of the above. So there's literally $0 going into research and development of anything that's natural, that's been studied. And guys, I mean, everything's been freaking studied. There's been insane amounts of studies, insane amounts of really positive research that's proven to be effective and stop hair loss and regrow hair. I just showed you a lot of them. And this is why, so even if you had the cure for hair loss, it would literally be financial suicide for a company to go through FDA approval to try to solve hair loss. Yes, even if the solution was safe and actually, so 0.2, guys, we're talking 0.2% caffeine was as effective as 5% minoxidil. So even if it's proven to be more effective than actually what's been FDA approved already, you still couldn't go through FDA approval to make it to your thing. So this is why this is why you haven't heard of this, and what is actually the most effective and proven solution to hair loss. And companies like these big companies are big, they're great at marketing and advertising, and they're selling the same things that have been around for over 30 years, 5% minoxidil and off-patent finasteride. And they became $1 billion company by doing so. They raised $100 million in capital, and it's crazy to me. And so think about all the companies that have changed the world. Google, Amazon. These are small companies that started small. This was Jeff Bezos in his office. Here's Zuckerberg in his dorm room. Here's Steve Jobs, literally in his parents' garage making Apple. Um, so to do that, there's a huge barrier to entry. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars to actually bring a solution like this to the market. So how have I figured this out, and how have not only me but now thousands of other people? Here's some of the other before and afters that we've had. Um, so this is not medical advice. I legally can't give you medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be one. You should always talk to your doctor before, and always consult with your doctor before you take any action or before you start any healthcare treatment. So what's the big secret? The big secret of reversing, guys, this is like, it's so simple. It is really so simple. The secret of reversing hair loss is not by trying to grow new hair. You don't have to do anything to try to grow new hair. All you have to do is restore blood flow back to the hair follicle. Because if you restore blood flow back to the hair follicle, the hair will take care of itself. If you fix the problem that's happening at the hair follicle, you don't need to do anything to make your hair thick and healthy and grow. The hair follicle, that is what it's naturally designed to do. We just have to focus on the health of the hair follicle. So we have to get these ingredients, the ARB, these fatty acids and other ingredients to the hair follicle. And there's a thing called the androgen receptor of the hair follicle, and that's where DHT goes, and it attaches to the hair follicle, and it starts causing this problem. It starts reducing blood supply, and people call it hair miniaturization, but that's not actually what's happening. It's a restriction of blood flow, and and people say, miniaturizes the hair follicle, and eventually the hair follicle dies and hair loss occurs. But as I told you, it's not. It's literally all about blood flow. So we got to get these ingredients to the hair follicle, because when these ingredients get to the hair follicle, some of them actually dissolve DHT, and some of them actually inhibit and block DHT from attaching, because they attach to the hair follicle, but they don't cause any problem to the hair follicle. So the solution is we have to get these to the hair follicle. The problem is it's not that easy, because the hair follicle is under what's called the epidermis. And the epidermis is the outer layer of your skin. And think about the skin like an alligator, or, it's designed to protect it in its harsh element. Well, our skin, the outer layer of our skin, is a protective barrier as well. And the hair follicle is underneath the epidermis. So when you apply anything to your skin or your scalp or your hair, the skin is literally designed not to allow it to get to the hair follicle. So I'm going to share with you guys what I have learned over the last 22 years. And I've tried literally, like I was thinking about Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Edison, whoever invented the light bulb, like thousands of trial and error. This is my 22-step process that working with, and I've worked with the most brilliant, incredible doctors and chemists and medical engineers and amazing people that have made this possible. But the first step is I call it scalp exfoliation. We don't think about how we take care of our teeth. We don't brush our teeth with our finger. We use a toothbrush to remove plaque and to, remove the gunk and the buildup that's on our teeth so we can have healthy teeth. If you didn't brush your teeth with a toothbrush and toothpaste, you would have severe dental problems. But we don't think about that with the scalp. So these are a couple pictures of people from our group that like all this stuff. When I show this to people for the first time, and I have the brush here that I use, it's like when you go through and you really brush, like the stuff that comes out of your scalp, especially if you don't do this regularly or have you done it before, it will blow your mind. There's all this buildup of DHT or of sebum, dead skin, and dandruff. So the first step is really exfoliating the scalp. And I'm going to show you how I do that. But here's a zoomed up picture of a healthy scalp versus an unhealthy scalp. And the first thing that I do, the way that I do this is I do it in the shower. I use a shampoo. I'll show you guys. It's a special shampoo formulated with caffeine and all the ARB that really help with stimulating growth of the hair follicle and inhibiting DHT. But I get in the shower. I use warm water to remove just any styling products, and then I put the shampoo in and I brush with these brushes. And the biggest misconception that people have when they go through thinning hair and hair loss is that you think you need to be careful with your hair not to make the problem worse. You think, oh my gosh, my hair's thinning, my hair's delicate, it's fragile, I'm losing my hair, I need to be careful. That is the opposite of what you need to do. Like it's logical, but it's very counterintuitive. You have to be aggressive. You actually have to be aggressive brushing, and by doing so, you're stimulating the scalp, and you're removing dead skin and dandruff, and you're stimulating blood flow. You're creating micro trauma in that area, which leads me to the next point. This was I used to be obsessed with golf. I used to play a lot of golf. And I was at a golf green. They call it aerating the greens. But when they fertilize the greens, if you guys have ever played golf or been to a golf course, you'll see how the greens on the greens are like, the grass is just so perfect. It's like beautiful. It's like short. It's manicured. It's like, how do they keep the grass so perfect? This is they aerate the greens. They fertilize the greens like this, but they make holes in the top of the grass and like this in the topsoil, and then they put in the fertilizer. And they're doing this because that allows, just like I said about the epidermis, it allows the fertilizer and the things to get through the topsoil to where they need to go, which is the root. So the exact same thing is what you need to do with the scalp and for the hair follicle. The hair follicle is the root. We got to get through the epidermis, through the topsoil in that example, to the hair follicle so it can have the benefit. So this is a roller that I have traveled all over the world. It's the best one in the world. It's from a company in South Korea that I work with. And when you roll like this, you're creating micro channels. These needles are actually penetrating the epidermis, and it's very, very important the type of roller that you use. They need to be individually needles, but it creates micro channels and micro punctures in the epidermis to allow whatever ingredient that you put on the scalp to get to the hair follicle. And studies have shown a 1,500% increase in new hair growth by using the solution in combination with the roller. So the roller is super important. This was when I was getting started trying to test this. And these results were not from a hair transplant. You can see on the left, I used to roll way too hard. I was using way too long of a needle to roll. But you can see the regrowth that I had in my temples there. That is not from a hair transplant. You can see how that hair is fine. That is not possible with a hair transplant. But I want you to see the hair regrowth that I have by using this method on myself. This is me. And what's happening by both using the roller and a brush, the way that I explained to you, is it's triggering the body's natural healing mechanism. When you create micro damage or micro trauma to that area, it's just like when you sprain your ankle. What happens when you sprain your ankle? The body sends blood flow to that area. Why does it do that? Because that's how the body naturally heals itself, by sending blood flow. Because blood flow is, again, what carries all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients to help the damaged area. So when blood flow isn't getting to the hair follicle because of a blood flow restriction, and you do this, you're sending blood flow to that area, which helps with hair growth. And finally, the last step is taking the topical solution with all these ingredients and all the fatty acids and the oleic acids, and it has minoxidil, it has caffeine, and it has literally, it's the best. It's incredibly complicated to make this, but you apply the topical solution, and it doesn't matter about the hair. It has to get to the scalp and the hair follicle. And this is just a little bit of video. I'll show you how I do it more. But you want to touch the dropper to the scalp and go around. I've seen pictures where people are, marketing where they're just dropping it around the top of their hair. That is not what you need to do. You have to get it on the scalp, and then you can roll it in, massage it in with one finger. But the solution needs to get on the scalp, not necessarily the hair. It has nothing to do with the hair. And when you do this properly, this is just what's possible. This is a young man that you can see significant, again, this is not from a hair transplant. You can see significant balding, and thinning of the hair, receding hairline, definitely headed for complete balding. And you can see not only did he stop it, and this was a relative short period of time. I don't know exactly how many months this was, but 3 to 6 months is a really critical time. But this is what's possible. This is another guy you can see on the left, thinning, he shaved his head, but you can see pretty much bald in the front, starting to be bald in the middle, and definitely starting to recede and lose hair around the crown. December to February. So 3 months. Look at the hair growth that has taken place in this. It's insane. I didn't know that this was possible. This is literally before and after of somebody. John says that looks like me. Well, dude, good news, bro. But it's possible. This is another gentleman. You can see balding around the crown. Look at the regrowth. I mean, look at the regrowth around the whole area. And again, not just only the area. Look how much healthier the overall hair is. The hair elsewhere. So it's about hair follicle health, guys. It's not about trying to regrow hair. You take care of the hair follicle, and this is what happens. Here's another woman. She says she's at her 60-day mark. So this is, people ask me, how long does it take to see results? The growth phase of the hair cycle is called the anagen phase. And it's the early phase of that is like 90 to 100 days, but I want to show you 60 days, changes are happening. You can visibly see a lot of hair growth coming in and new hair filling in. This is actually one of my best friends. We played football together. You can see his FaceTiming with him up in the top right, but you can see his results. This is one of the most mind-blowing ones that I've ever seen. This dude had, a shining scalp that was really balding and had insane growth. Does this work with alopecia? LMM. Alopecia is just the medical term for hair loss. Hair loss is all caused, so yes, it's the same exact thing. Alopecia is hair loss. There's all these technical things. There's so much confusion. Alopecia is just hair loss. Here's another woman that had receding around the hairline, hair regrowth. Here's another guy that had May to August, so May, June, July, 3 months. His message, because of history, I'm extremely thankful. The lifelong benefits, like he said, it changed his life. I mean, dude, hair loss can really, really impact you. So this is a question that I get often is, will this work if I'm completely bald? Guys, the last thing I want to do is try to overpromise and underdeliver. Like, you want to start as soon as you possibly can, and people should use this whether they have hair loss or not. They should follow this program because it's about taking care of the health of your hair. You can reverse hair loss to a significant degree. Being bald is not ideal, but these are examples of people that, in my opinion, were significant balding and have had insane results. It's going to take time. It's going to take consistency. The longer that you're bald, the longer it's going to take time to regrow. It goes in the opposite pattern. But it's not ideal. You will absolutely have results. But ideally you start this before you are bald. But with that being said, no matter what, you should always have hope because if you are completely bald and needed it, like the hair transplants now that are available, of what wouldn't fill in is amazing. This is a guy, again, look at the picture on the left to the right. Shiny scalp. Look how much healthier the scalp is on the right side also. So that goes to show you, again, the health of the scalp. Shiny, calcified scalp by using the roller and the brushing and the topical and the shampoo. It literally changes the scalp and hair is regrown in the entire area. It's mind-blowing. Here's a couple other examples of people that had pretty significant balding have had regrowth. And again, so questions, have this worked? This is, people that have saying in 4 months it's reversed 10 years of hair loss. 20 years it's brought hair loss back. They've been losing their hair for 3 months or for 20 years. This is, again, 3 months is it's a super, super important time frame because the growth phase of the hair cycle, it takes time and you have to be consistent. You can't, it's just like, planting a root or a tree and you put the seed under the ground. You have to water it and you have to keep watering it before you can expect it to grow. 3 months is the minimum. Some people, and oftentimes you'll see results before 3 months, but you got to be really patient. You got to be really consistent. And you have to, I say 3 months before you can expect to see real results. These are all results from 3 months. This is a friend of mine named Siri. Look at the results that he had in 3 months, not just in the crown and the hairline, but again, the overall health of his hair. And 3 months, it's filling in the crown. He now has a completely full head of hair. Here's 3 months, 90 days. You can see new hair growth in the temples and the hairline. This is a guy that's had 3 month results. You can see dramatic results here. 3 months. Look at all the hair that's filling in around the hairline. He said, making the impossible real. Hair loss seems to be historical. This is the same guy from the front view of the view that I showed you at the back that had the shiny scalp. Insane. The 4 month results. Here's a guy 3 month results. Another woman here, she said she's been dealing with it for over 20 years and has had amazing, literally filling in. So 60-day results. This is a great example from a woman that didn't have really thinning hair, like too bad or hair loss, but started using the product because her boyfriend actually uses it and had incredible results. A guy, not too bad, completely full head of hair. Receding hairline, like I could keep going with these and going and going and going. But it's a 3-step process. It starts with scalp exfoliation and cleansing the scalp, microabrasion to create the pathways to the epidermis to create microtrauma, and then delivering the topical solution, the ARB to the hair follicle. So how can you get these results yourself? There's a couple options. Option one, this is just a list of, if you were to try to make this in small batches, I can tell you exactly how to do it. This is the list of equipment. I work with literally one of the most brilliant chemists in the world that's on our team. And I said, dude, just put a list together. If someone were to try to want to make this themselves with all the testing and for small batches, just to make 1 liter batches, what's the list of equipment that people would need? This is all from laboratory equipment from Fisher Scientific. This would cost you, $25 to $30,000 just for the equipment if you were to make it in small batches. This, to figure out how to try to make it, if you knew the formula, I could literally give you the formula to get the method. Turgis Pharmaceuticals is one of the biggest companies that does a lot of R&D for topical solutions. You're looking at $140,000 to go through the R&D process, and it's going to take you at least 8 months. I've been working on this for 20 years, but I just want to show you guys all that's involved, because there are a lot of BS things out there in this market, and I've fallen prey to a lot of those. And I just want you guys to know, I'm not trying to be, I'm just trying to show you guys actually all that's involved. And even if you were to use minoxidil, so I do use minoxidil in the topical solution. Minoxidil is a vasodilator. It helps accelerate the results. It's great, but it doesn't do anything to stop the cause. It doesn't do anything. And the reason why ours is so effective, the solution is so effective, is because it's inhibiting what's causing the problem. But if you were just to use and buy the ingredients yourself, the raw material from Spectrum, here's the website, you can go check it yourself. 1 gram is $77. We have 3 grams in the bottle. If you were to buy this yourself, each bottle for just the topical alone would be $231 for just that one basic ingredient. We're able to do this and get it to these prices because we buy massive volume and massive quantities of this. Or you can do what I wish someone would offer me when I was getting started in option number 2. This is a 2 or a 3 and a 6 month supply. I highly recommend this because it's tested. It's the best in the world. It's changed my life. It's changed thousands of people's lives. I would not, if you're not committed to sticking to it for at least 3 months, I wouldn't waste your time. I would do definitely a 3 month supply or a 6 month supply. And I got the prices down, guys. I mean, honestly, at like the lowest margins possible. And it, like, these are 2 guys that have literally said, no, excuse me, it's changed their life. They literally got our logo tattooed on their body. Literally our logo tattooed on their body because they said it's changed their life so much. So I recommend the 6 month supply. This is the best deal. If you think it's expensive, you have no idea what's gone into it. It is the best of the best. And at the 6 month supply, it only comes out to $4.44 a day. That's literally like a cup of coffee. The shampoo is actually probably going to last you much longer than 6 months. But this is a 6 month supply. If for the topical solution, there are 3 rollers, 2 brushes. The brushes last forever. The rollers will last you to two months. You probably can use them longer, but it's a 6 month supply. You can go right now. Click on the link here if you want to get started. It's just start.adagen.com. I will try to put that in the chat over here. But now I want to go through questions for you guys, and let's go ahead and ask some questions. What questions do you guys have? What questions do you guys have, and how can I help you? Okay, so there's the link in the chat, start.adagen.com. If you click on that, it'll take you over to, here's the site. It'll take you over to either the 1, 3, or 6 month supply. And you can order right from there. And these are some more of the people that we talked about and their stories of what they've said. But I wouldn't do 1 month. You certainly can. It doesn't matter to me. But if you are looking for savings and you're going to need to give it at least 3 months. And the results will continue to get better from there. 6 months is definitely the way to go, in my opinion. But let me stop this presentation here and get over to, I'm not even sure how to do that. Okay, so we're just going to talk from here. Okay, so I'm going to go through. I'm starting looking at the question. Okay, so this is one of the great questions. Do you have to use this forever, Lisa? That is a question that I get often, and it's a question of. It's the same question of, do I need to brush my teeth forever? Do I need to, if I want to exercise and eat healthy, do I need to do that forever? Or can I just do that for a short period of time, get the results that I want, and then stop? This is something that I use every day. And if you do not, it's anti-aging for your hair. It's taking care of the health of your hair follicle. So it is something that you do need to use if you want to maintain the results. But once you, and for women especially, it's super easy, and a lot of people can maintain the results. Once you really get the hair and scalp back to being healthy, the hair follicle being back to healthy, a lot of people can't maintain. And I've had friends and people that have had great results just using the shampoo in the brushing. But for thinning hair and hair loss, I recommend the whole system. And you use the topical solution once a day. The best way to do this that I have found personally is I shower, I use the shampoo, I exfoliate with the brushes, I put a little bit more shampoo and I really massage it in, and then you leave the shampoo sit for 5 to 10 minutes. So I shampoo and scrub. Um, the very first thing that I do in the shower, and the last thing that I do, then I brush my teeth, I'll wash my face, I'll wash my body, and then I'll leave the shampoo sit that entire time. Then the last thing I do is I'll rinse out the shampoo at the end of the shower. I'll towel dry my hair. I'll use the roller. I'll roll 5 to 10 times in any hair loss area, and then I'll apply the topical solution. Um, you can do this at night, but you can do it anytime during the day. You can do it in the morning. You can do it at night, whatever. But one time a day is sufficient um, for most people. Um, let's see. Can you talk about the solution? Does this product contain minoxidil? Yes, Lori, the product does contain minoxidil. Um, it is a 5% minoxidil solution. Um, what are the ingredients in general? I missed some of the information of the shampoo. So we can send out a replay, and there's information on the pages, and we can send that out. Um, my team, Austin, maybe we can put that link in the chat. But it's the main ingredients are that are super effective for inhibiting are the acids, it's fatty acid complex. So it's like azelaic acid, linoleic acid, oleic acid, caffeine, retinol. Those are really the major ones that are doing they're stopping hair loss and the androgen hormones at the site of the problem, which is the hair follicle. And the minoxidil in the topical solution helps stimulate. It helps increase the speed of the results. How often do you need to use the shampoo for best results? So for the shampoo, there's a study. I could have put that in here, but there's a misconception that thinking that shampooing your hair or washing your hair is not good. That's better. I've heard people talk about like, oh well, you shouldn't wash your hair every day. There's a study that shows actually washing your hair every day is best for hair growth. But for women that don't wash their hair every day, that's fine. I still recommend using the topical solution every day, and then shampooing every time that you shower or every time that you wash your hair, obviously. So you can stick with your same routine. But the more that you use the shampoo every day, the better. Um, does heart medication prohibit the program you're offering? That is definitely a question you need to talk to your doctor about and ask them. Um, I can't legally give you medical advice. Um, Adam asked, how often should we exfoliate? You should exfoliate every day. It's just like brushing your teeth. I shampoo and I brush with the shampoo every day, or I brush with the shampoo and I shampoo every single day. So yes, will the shampoo and the scrubber help? Well, just as, yes, it absolutely will. It's really the foundation of the system, but for regrowth, the topical is super important as well. How often do you need to apply the topical solution? I apply the topical solution once a day. And you need to make sure that you apply enough topical solution. Again, the FDA limit on the label 1 ml, 1 milliliter. 1 ml is typically not enough to cover the hair loss area. So it says 1 ml, but you have to use enough topical solution to cover the hair loss area and make sure there's a thin layer. So personally, I use 2 to 3 mLs per day. Do you ship internationally? Yes, we ship internationally. We've shipped to over 100 countries. Um, Marie asking us to be purchased wholesale. We have a lot of people asking us that, and we haven't done so yet. But yeah, we have a lot of doctors' offices and clinics and people asking about that. And as of right now, no, but you can send us a message. Will your hair fall out if you quit using it? Okay, this is another great question. So people think, and this is another great myth. People think that if you start using minoxidil or any solution that regrows your hair. Minoxidil is probably the biggest one because that's what people know about. They think that if you start using minoxidil and then you stop, you're going to be worse off than you were before you started. So you actually shouldn't even start. It's total BS. You will never be worse off by starting something and stopping it than before you started this. You will actually be better off if you start it and have results and then stop it than you were, because if you don't start it, the health of your hair follicle is continually it's going to decline. But yes, that it will definitely not start. It will not make it worse by starting, and it will only help you. But again, it is something that you will have to be consistent with. Depending on the severity of your hair loss. Is there a formulation without minoxidil? My doctor says I'm allergic and can't use it. We are actually coming out with a solution that's minoxidil free that I'm excited about. It's not available yet, but I would say it's probably going to be available in like 3 months. Um, Please link more general information. Okay, there's that. Um, how did you naturally increase your testosterone so much? Um, Honestly, I've always just had high testosterone, and I haven't done anything. I eat fairly healthy, um, and I try to take care of my body, get good sleep, but just the basics. Um, it comes with precise instructions how to use it. Yes, it does. The instructions are on the bottle, and I'm also working on video instructions, and we'll send you those when you buy it to where you can watch the videos. But it's super simple, guys. You're literally just putting shampoo in, you're brushing with the shampoo in, and you're vigorously. So, like with the brushes, I'll show you how I do it. So, I take the brushes like this, and I start like this, and and I don't know if you can see this, but I see like little, dead skin and dandruff coming out of my hair right now. But I do, or my scalp. So, it's literally exfoliating the scalp. I do it like this. You can also just put it in like this. And for women, I think sometimes this works better because if you have long hair, there's two things you can do for women with long hair because especially with the shampoo and for women with really long hair, it might be hard to brush through. So with women with long hair, this is a great tip. You can first put in conditioner and then start brushing the strokes through with conditioner. Really, really exfoliate and brush with the conditioner in, then rinse out the conditioner, then put in the shampoo and let the shampoo sit. If you don't want to do that, then you can just put in the shampoo just like I do, and then just take it and just oscillate back and forth like this to really, without having to brush the entire way through, like I was just showing you. Does your age affect the results? Age has nothing to do with it. We've had people that are in their 80s that have had incredible results, and it's age has absolutely nothing to do with it. The sooner you start, the better, and um, that's what I would say. Would taking DHT blockers help with your full protocol, or should we not waste our money? Um, so that's a great question. So a lot of people ask me, do DH like finasteride? They've been taking finasteride, and they're like, should I keep taking finasteride or should I stop finasteride? You can keep taking finasteride if you like, if you're not having any side effects. It will not hurt the solution or the protocol. Finasteride does have benefit to slowing down hair loss. What I would definitely recommend if you're going to take a DHT blocker, I would not take finasteride. There's another drug called dutasteride, Dutasteride, which is much more effective than finasteride. It blocks both type 1 and type 2 of 5-alpha reductase. It's much more effective than finasteride. It will not, I was taking and I kept losing my hair, so it's not a full solution. But if you're going to take a DHT blocker, that's the only one that I would recommend. If you have, like, guys, this is so effective. And I showed you pictures here, like, tons of people have not only stop their hair loss, it's regrown their hair, right? So you don't necessarily need a DHT blocker for sure. If you're on finasteride, it's fine. You want an extra cushion, fine. But you don't need it. Okay. Will you go through a shedding phase when you get started? Most people don't, but you can have a little bit of a shedding. Not you wouldn't notice it. What you will notice when you start using the brushes is we all shed 100 hairs, on average a day, 90 to 100 hairs a day. So when you start doing this and you're exfoliating your scalp, you're going to see all those hairs come out the whole day at once, and you're going to be like, "Oh my God, I'm losing my hair." That has nothing to do with it. Shedding has nothing to do with hair loss. Hair loss is when the hair gets thinner and thinner and thinner because the hair follicle is getting weaker, and then the hair follicle stops producing hair. When the hair sheds, that's actually a positive sign because that means a new growth phase. That means a new anagen phase of the hair cycle has started, and a new hair bulb is pushing out the old hair, which is why the old hair goes and the new hair growing started. So shedding is actually a sign of hair growth. So there's this big misconception around hair shedding. If it doesn't work, will money be refunded? So this is a great question we get asked all the time. We have a refund policy for unopened product. It works. I know it works. The problem with doing refunds is with refunding things like this is and I could probably make more, we could sell a lot more just by saying, yeah, whatever, because the laser helmet has just nobody returns it. You'll make more money by offering a return policy with people returning it. I don't want to deal with returns. I don't want to deal with refunds. By people sending back, here's why, and here's why this is beneficial for you. If somebody sends back a product, we we don't have control of that product anymore. This is why we also don't just sell on Amazon. We don't distribute through any other, but I made this product for myself. So the only way that we can completely control 100% the quality is you can only buy it from one place, because there's a bunch of knockoffs from all over the places. You can only buy it from one place, which is us, and we control the entire process. It works. So the only variable here is if you're going to be consistent, and that's on you. Does a dermal roller hurt? Okay, so good question. There's been a couple different versions that I've used in the past. And the one that we're offering now, and the only one that we're offering now, I call it the painless dermal roller. It's painless. It it doesn't hurt. I would say you get used to it, but it's not bad. But you feel it a little bit. But the needles are very, very specifically and studied to be the most effective depth to get to the hair follicle. Can you use essential oils like rosemary, cedarwood, tea tree? You can. You can. Those are proven to be not very effective. And I have studies that show that. I wouldn't use that in combination. What I would do if I was going to do that, I would make sure that I put on Adagen and use the topical solution first. Make sure that absorbs and dries, and then you could apply that later on. Later on, a couple hours afterwards, to make sure that the active ingredients of this are taking root, because it's way more effective than rosemary oil. Okay, what else we got here? I currently started using Rogaine. Should I discontinue Rogaine and use this? Lori, there's no comparison. I have a picture, actually, a slide in the thing that somebody asked that question. There's no comparison between Rogaine and our topical solution. Rogaine is 5% minoxidil. We have 5% in our solution, but that is not what Rogaine will help you. Like Rogaine, 5% minoxidil will have a benefit. There's no comparison. It's like night and day, the difference that you'll have. So if you want to, finish using Rogaine and switch over to this, if you're having great results with Rogaine, stick with Rogaine. But if you want the best results, if you want the best quality product, the most effective solution, this is it by far. Your shampoo has SLS. Okay, this is a great. I love that somebody brought this up, guys. There is so much. Let me talk to you specifically about SLS. I have worked with PhD chemists, the best, not just one. I'm talking multiple PhD chemists from around the world. And there's bloggers, mommy bloggers, and bloggers talking about that SLS is bad. SLS is used in the most luxurious, highest quality shampoos in the world. It is used in toothpaste. It is used in all kinds of ingredients. SLS is the most pure surfactant, safest surfactant, and the most effective surfactant in the world. And I have tons of studies and proven that it's safe. So if you've read anything about SLS is bad, they're trying to tell you something. I use this. My mom uses this. I have spent millions and millions of dollars making these products. I could have easily taken out SLS. There's a lot of misconceptions around parabens. We actually remove parabens just because of all the questions around it. I am so certain that SLS is not only safe, it's the most effective ingredient for surfactant. So SLS is a total misconception that's bad. Okay, can you tell me what it is besides minoxidil? Yeah, so minoxidil, like I said, and I'll send out the presentation. We can send out the replay of this if you've missed that. Minoxidil is just 5%, minoxidil, Rogaine. That is a vasodilator. That has nothing to do with what's causing or treating the actual cause, which is the restriction of blood supply. So we have azelaic acid, oleic acid, linoleic acid, caffeine, zinc, and other ingredients that actually block DHT. At the side of the hair follicle. Okay, I see SLS sulfates are harsh detergents that can cause irritation, frizz, and dullness. You can use, we can agree to disagree. We've sold, thousands of bottles of this, and we have the best results in the world. So if you're concerned about that, don't use the shampoo. I made this product for myself to be the most effective. The issue with these other first of all, there's this thing about natural ingredients. Everything is all natural. Everything, well, the things I'm doing with thumbs up. When people talk about natural ingredients, it's total BS. Every ingredient is natural because when you look under it every ingredient comes from an element on the periodic table. So this all natural versus not natural, all they're saying, by saying all natural, it's a marketing ploy And if something is refined for potency and purity, that is, they're trying to make that seem like it's a bad thing. That's total BS. But if you're concerned that it strips your hair of moisture, after you wash out the shampoo, you can use any conditioner, and that will take care. Or that you can use any conditioner after the shampoo. How long did your derma roller last if using daily? So I recommend using the derma roller every 2 days, every 2 or 3 days. And it depends on how well you take care of it. If you really take care of it, it can last you, 2 to 3 months. But I would say, yeah, 2 to 3 months. But if it gets damaged or you drop it, or if you see the needles bending, if you take really good care of it and clean it properly and store it properly, it should last you 2 months. Can you put rosemary oil in the shampoo, Debbie? Debbie, I used to ground up caffeine. I used to ground up coffee and put it in my shampoo because I thought that that was going to make it better. Rosemary oil does not help, and I can send you a study. This is not like just something that I thrown together. This is literally millions and millions of dollars of research working with the best and trying everything. Rosemary oil in the shampoo is certainly not necessary and not effective. However, does it contain azelaic acid? Yes, it does contain azelaic acid. A percentage of azelaic acid in the ARD. That is one of the fatty acid complexes in combination with linoleic and oleic. Um, is fragrance added to the shampoo? No, fragrance is not added to the shampoo. There is some tea tree and menthol in the shampoo for vasodilation as well. So it has a smell, but that is from the ingredients. There's no like um, perfume. How hard do you push on the roller? Do you know if you're pushing? Tony. So the roller, you don't need to worry about pushing hard because it's going to bottom out. And it's so easy once you start doing this, it becomes second nature and it's really, really easy to use. But you don't need to worry about pushing too hard. You can't push too hard because the needles are specific length and you don't have to push very hard. Um, let's see. What do you think about saw palmetto soft gels and grapeseed extract? I've taken all those, Jamie. It doesn't work. Um, you can take them by the mouthfuls. It's not going to make a difference. If you stop using the product, for example, what happens to the hair of the scalp? Eventually, if you stop using the products after 3 months, you'll see great results and you'll be like, I can't stop because my hair looks too good. So you don't want to keep using it because it'll change your life. That's what will happen. If you have dermatitis on the scalp, is it probably using this? Okay. So we've had actually a lot of people that have had dermatitis and actually psoriasis, and it's solved and cured their psoriasis because it's not just it's also the exfoliation is removing dead skin, dandruff, and it's really really good for your scalp. I can't give you medical advice, but I can tell you that we've had people that have had that and psoriasis and have had great results. Um, okay. Um, can you buy just the roller? Um, yeah, so you can buy everything um, individually as well at adage.com. But if you want to get the whole system, that is at the start.adage.com. Um, guys, I think that'll do it. I appreciate your time. This is something that has changed my life. It's made a huge impact in my life. It's helped thousands of people. And actually, we just this week we got nominated by Inc. 5000. We're one of the fastest growing companies, Inc. 5000 companies in the country. So I'm super grateful. I'm super thankful to our team and the brilliant people that made this possible for me. Because if there's anyone that doesn't want to lose their hair, it's me. I'm obsessed with my hair, and I'm very humbled and thankful to be able to share this with you guys. Um, Okay, I see. Does this system come with conditioner? We have a lot of people asking us to come out with a conditioner. I've been doing some research and development on that. But we do not have a shampoo or a conditioner right now. We may in the future, but as of now, we do not. You can use any conditioner that you like. Um, thank you for doing this. You're so welcome. It's my pleasure. I hope it works for me. Tony, we've had so many people. Oh, guys, the other thing you should do is join our Facebook group. Austin, if you can put that in our Facebook, the link to our Facebook group, I think there's, close to 15,000 people in our Facebook group. There it is. Guys, you should definitely join our Facebook group. There are so many people that have said, this was the last thing I was going to try. I gave up. Nothing works. And then they gave this a try and they literally said, we have tons of people, hundreds of people that have said that. And I promise you, Tony, stick with it, be consistent. don't lose hope. There's always hope. Um, so guys, start.adagen.com, start.adagen.com. It's the best thing on the market. It is the best thing you can possibly do for your thinning hair and hair loss. You can stop hair loss and reverse it to a significant degree. Um, and if there's anything we can do to help you, any questions that you have further, you can contact us at support.adagen.com or send us a message on the website. We'll get that. It's a pleasure to be with you guys today. And hair loss is history. This is the best. You guys are awesome. Thank you for sticking with me. And I look forward to serving you the best that we can. My pleasure.